You will.
Oh, also the
Now, how long to drive?
June 21st, right? Was it July? Yeah. July 21st, approving minutes from June 60, yeah.
Okay, right.
I would stay overnight.
This is right.
This is right.
Because I couldn't do that one. And even
Lance. Well, there's a,
All right, this is the Town of Victor Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for July 21st, 2025. I would like to start the meeting with the pledge. Please join me. Pledge allegiance to the flag, of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you all. A few housekeeping matters. If you'll notice, on either side of our room right here are the emergency exits, also the exits from which you entered into the building you may also use. The restrooms out in the lobby are available. If you haven't done so already, please sign the attendance sheet. There are also some business cards in the back table, as well as the proposed resolutions. If you haven't done so already, either please turn off or silence your cell phones. If you have any conversations that don't directly relate to the presentation that's in front of us, please take it out in the hallway so as not to disturb either the applicant or the board asking questions. Once the applicant makes the presentation, presumably one group over here, another, you've made an application and there's exhibits. We have the exhibits. All you have to do is ask. We can put them up on the screen. If you'd like, just ask Susie over there which one you want, and she'll pop it up. We have laser pointers, so you may use the laser pointer that's on the podium right there. Please tell us who you are, slowly, clearly, so Amber over here can understand as well as we can understand and create a good record. If you're talking about an exhibit, do your very best to use descriptive language. Please try and avoid, if you notice over here or if you notice over there, that doesn't translate very well with minutes of the meeting. Use descriptive language. North, south, east, west, the structure, the road, describe the road. Do your very best to describe what you're talking about. We will do our very best not to talk over you, and please don't talk over us. Again, we're going to create a good record. So if we're talking over each other, Amber may have a little difficult time when she's listening to figure who's talking, who said what, where, and when. So let's take our time. With that, I would press on for approval of the minutes. This would be the June 16th, 2025 minutes. Hopefully everyone has had an opportunity to review them. I would entertain a motion for approval.
Move to approve.
Thank you, Larry. A second.
second.
Thank you, Leah. Is any other discussion regarding the minutes? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried. Thanks so much. All right, the first application. I don't know how to pronounce it.
First name, Ernie.
Ernie.
That's our last name.
Ernie, okay. Very good. Who is making the presentation for us?
I am.
All right.
So I'm Frank Ernie, 436 Klein Road, and we're applying for a variance and a use in a easement at the end of the driveway for a decorative fence.
Okay.
So we applied for
All right, so
initially,
let me help you out a little bit. 'Cause
Okay.
I know this is probably your first time.
It is.
And let's work together on this. Susie, could we have the criteria up on the screen? Because that's a good
Yep.
model to look at.
that's good.
Okay, there we go. So you're applying for an area variance.
Correct.
And what the board looks at and must do by law is look at each of the 5 criteria. And I'm just going to summarize the number 1. Would an undesirable change be created in the neighborhood? So whatever you're describing, whatever you're saying, why you want the fence, why you think you should get the variance, do your best to try and plug it into one or multiple areas. If you start, let's say, drifting around and saying, well, the fence is going to be black, we don't care.
Right.
It's planning, right? What we care about is whether or not it's going to change the character of the neighborhood. Could you do it in some other feasible means, a reasonable means? Is it substantial? Is it going to change or have any kind of negative impact on the physical and environmental conditions? And is the alleged difficulty self-created? Now, don't worry too much about the last one, because most of the time, the applicant, they're creating it, so it is self-created. But most of the weight, most of what we look at is the top 4.
Okay.
Okay, make sense so far?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah, that's pretty much the letter we wrote
there we go.
addressing those 5 issues.
So, in summary, if I understood your application, it's for aesthetic purposes.
Correct, only. Yep.
Okay, all right. So we have that. Do you have anything else you want to add? If not, you will have opportunities then, once you hear some questions from the board.
Okay.
You can respond to their questions if you want to add. This is a fact-finding journey.
Sure.
Fair enough?
Fair.
Okay, good. Leah, questions, comments, concerns?
Well, I think you just answered it, that it's purely for aesthetic purposes.
Yep.
And I saw in your documents that if ever the easement has to be accessed, that you have no problem with them coming in to access those utility easements or anything.
Correct.
And also, you mentioned, you listed the neighbors who live in the area who signed this. Have any of your neighbors said they're against it, or they don't like the idea of seeing any type of fence in the area?
Nobody's given us that indication at all, no.
No. And it's going to be, you said it's going to be 3.5 feet high.
Correct.
And if it was 2 feet, you wouldn't need a variance, but you don't want it 2 feet
Not
for
really.
aesthetic purposes. Okay. Okay, that's all I have for now.
Okay.
Okay. Larry, comments, questions, concerns?
Yeah, I noticed that when driving up there today, that no one else on the entire road has a fence. Based upon that it's going to look, well, I see you shaking your head, but no one has a fence in perpendicular to the road.
Correct.
One further down,
Correct.
well, then come up and tell us.
On Farmington side of the road.
Hi, my name's Patricia Axmouth Tavelet. I live at 411 Klein Road, Farmington. So I think it's really important that this board considers not just Victor's codes when you're looking at variances that are requested. Klein Road is an unusual road in that it covers 3 counties and 4 towns: Victor, Farmington, Macedon, and Perrington. So when you look northeast of the property that the Ernies are requesting to get a variance for their fence, there is a fence that's aesthetically pleasing that's roughly 5 feet high further up the street, and it goes around 3 sides of the property. And again, it's aesthetically pleasing. The neighbors that live there will tell you it doesn't prohibit wildlife. Deer still find their way into the yard. And honestly, if they're looking to do it for aesthetics, that's no different than the variance created for the property that's at, oh shoot, let me get the picture. At 335 Klein Road in Farmington. So actually, it's about half the height of the one that the Zoning Board of Appeals in Farmington granted probably about 13, 14 years ago. So it's in keeping with the character of the neighborhood, although not most houses, it is in keeping with it. And when you're making decisions regarding Klein Road, it's really important to look at all 4 towns, 3 counties that span that road. And I realize it's a myriad of different towns and codes, but pretty much the request they're making is in keeping with the character.
But you would admit that the one example that you mentioned where it goes on 3/4 is parallel and not perpendicular to the road.
Well, they've got, so this is a property that is northeast of the Ernie's property.
That's the one with
Okay.
that's the one with the steel.
It has metal work in the front, and partway around the sides, it's got wood fence. So really, the wood fence and part of the metal is perpendicular to Klein Road, and part of it is parallel. That crosses in front of the property.
Okay, but the immediate part that's right on the road is parallel and not perpendicular.
That is parallel, not perpendicular.
Is that in Victor County?
Farmington.
That's in Farmington.
Okay, I got to jump in a little bit because I think we're going down a rabbit hole that it's Farmington, it's an apples and orange. Their codes are different. When we look at the criteria that I pointed to first, we look at Victor's code in comparison. We don't reach out into Farmington, we don't reach out into Canandaigua, we don't reach out into another district. That neighborhood is really in close proximity to Klein Road in Victor. So I appreciate what you're saying, but the legal aspect of it is it's irrelevant. We only should be looking at what is in Victor.
But point number 1 on your list of items, the criteria was, is it in keeping with the character of the neighborhood?
If you
And
look
it
at-
is.
Go ahead, finish. If
It
you
is in
look
keeping.
at case law, neighborhood is within the zoning district. Victor has absolutely no control, no say over a fence that's in Farmington. And likewise, Farmington has absolutely no say on what the fences look like in Victor. So by law, we should not be looking at or even considering any fences up and down Klein Road that's in Farmington, only in Victor. Okay?
Okay.
That's, I don't make up the law, that's what it is,
Okay.
all right? No, go ahead, continue with your questions.
Oh, I'm done, thank you.
Okay, you're welcome.
So just in response,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
when I spoke with Adam earlier, basically all the information I provided was for properties that were within the Victor, town of Victor only. That's it. I didn't get any other,
But most-
I didn't get any other examples of any other fences outside the,
So the list that we have was just in Victor.
yes.
And a majority of the exceptions were either prior to the law,
Correct.
or in one case, illegal.
One illegal, some are exempt because they're agricultural use, and there was at least two granted variances.
But not in the last 15 years.
No, one was 2019, and the
Oh,
other
was
was 10. Yeah, that's been 15 years.
I must have seen the new 2010. Okay, thank you.
Matt, go ahead.
I didn't have any specific questions. I didn't generally have an issue with it from driving out there, starting in the village, just following my GPS coming out from the Klein Road. As you get out there, there was the split rail fences. I thought, as you drive out there, come to their house, I thought it would fit in with the area. The fact that it's, while I know our zoning code specifically has decorative in there for fence, the fact that it's not actually blocking in the front yard, running parallel with the road and actually fencing in a portion of the yard and was being used for decorative. I liked that aspect of it and not being used for specifically for a fence. And I thought based on, you guys have a very beautiful house, by the way. I thought based on the architecture of the house and everything, it would fit in. I did actually have one question. In regards to the boulders and the landscaping that's out front, would that, the fence would be angling behind
Right behind it.
those boulders? Okay.
Yep, just enough to get my push mower behind it. Yep.
Okay. And then in regards to the easement, they had the letter from the water authority saying the water authority didn't have an issue with it. I generally think that's the biggest item. If the stakeholder of the easement doesn't have an issue, I wouldn't have an issue with that. And I believe there's probably no actual water main in there. The water authority sounded like just has that for the future if they want to put it in. Was it? I don't have any other-
Okay, thanks. Patrick, comments, questions, concerns?
Nope, I think Matt summarized my thoughts. Comment on the water authority. So Matt, did you just say there's not a main there?
From looking at the letter, it sounded like there's
Yeah.
not a main there, and not specifically to this, I do know the water authority gets during new construction I didn't know if it was also residential, but on commercial, they'll require a frontage easement when granting new water services. So they just have those for when they want to do it in the future to put it in. I don't know if it's specific to here, but reading the letter, it sounded like there actually wasn't a water main in the easement, and they had it there if they ever wanted to put one
Okay,
in,
okay.
is the way it sounded.
All right, no, that makes sense. No, I have nothing more.
Adam, do you know specifically if the water authority has a main there?
Well, you connected to city water, aren't you?
The main is actually on the other side of the road,
On the,
Right.
okay,
because that's where all the fire hydrants are along the road as well.
okay.
Correct.
So they have this then if they ever want to do. a
Correct.
new- Okay.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Okay, just to circle back to Larry's comments, there were a number of photographs that you submitted, and I think it was generally summarized into most of them either they illegally exist or they pre-exist the code. There's only really two that variances were granted. One is at 968 High Street. A variance was granted in 2019, and then 6800 Gillis in 2010. I think arguably that's really not in the neighborhood. That's a fair distance from your neighborhood. It's important because every neighborhood, if you look at a clustered subdivision compared to, let's say, where you live, which is far more rural, they all look different. So putting a fence that you're asking for, let's say in a clustered subdivision where the houses are 30, 40 feet apart, there would be a different look at it, a different set of concerns to say, oh, neighbors may not like it. It's only on a third of an acre as opposed to you're on
Less than an acre.
0.87 acres, right? You see what I'm driving? It's to try and compare the Gillis fence as well as the High Street fence. That's a stretch. So looking more, what's going on in that neighborhood? In Victor, on Klein, there doesn't really seem to be much there, but it is rural, right? So let me ask you a few questions then on how far you want to go. Let's say the distance from the front of your house to the proposed spot that it looks like it's to the right-of-way line. Am I not looking at,
From the front of the house to the right-of-way,
yeah, what's the distance of that fence?
on the south side of the driveway, so the long fence section is going to be 107 feet.
100.
And that's from the back side that's from the line of the easement. So forward of the line of the easement, there's another 9 feet going in the easterly direction, which is the angled portion of the fence.
Okay. And that, the fence is going in the easterly direction. You want to go all the way to the right-of-way line? Or,
I'm going forward of the easement line, if that's what you're referring to. I don't know what you mean. Oh, I can use this.
no.
So that
I
dotted line,
got this, there isn't, ROW right in the left-hand corner, and there's a dark line that runs.
Oh, correct. I do not go forward to that.
Right, so you want to
At
go
all.
up to the right-of-way line. If I'm not asking the question clear enough, let me know and I'll rephrase it.
No, I'm trying to remember now. So 33 feet from the center of the road back. So that's, I think what you're referring to is those are the pins of my property line. So yes, it goes pretty much right to that and not forward of that.
So now I've been on all sorts of roads and right-of-ways. Sometimes a right-of-way, it's grass, sometimes it's gravel, sometimes it's pavement.
Correct.
Can you describe for me what that looks like to the best of your recollection?
It's all grass on both sides of the driveway.
Okay, so it's
Right
not-
up to the road surface.
All right, Adam, does that sound about right, that it's grass, it's not paved road? I'm just concerned that the fence is going to go right up to and abut a shoulder
No.
or pavement.
Nope. No.
Here's the,
It's all grass.
The right-of-way is off the road.
Okay,
It's not, the right-of-way is no longer his property, so he's stopping at his property line.
Correct.
You'd be here for a
yeah, right. So do you know the distance between the right-of-way and any kind of pavement, whether it be shoulder?
Sure. So let's see, if that is 33 feet,
approximately 15.
it's about, 15.
15 to 18.
Yep.
here's the GIS map as well. Whole line will be their property.
Okay, thank you. So my concern is that if that fence gets too close to the road, and one of the intents, having that code there for the fences not being forward of the front of the house is not to create obstructions or barriers or hazards. The closer you get to the road, arguably, the more hazards you're going to create that, what's the speed limit there? It's got to be what?
55.
Yeah, right. So a car veers off 15 feet, it's going to hit the fence. And that couldn't be a good thing. But the kind of fence, if it's a split rail fence, is less concerning to me than something that's, let's say, more permanent, deeper in the ground. So let me ask you this, the post itself, 4x4, 6x6, what do you make of the
It's a
post?
5x5. It's the whole fence is vinyl. It's plastic.
Okay,
And it's hollow.
okay.
And I'm not setting them in concrete. I'm just putting them in the ground and backfilling them. And
So
the depth underground is going to be 24 inches.
Okay, so if the board approves it and decides then that one of the conditions or conditions would be it's only a vinyl fence, no wood inserts,
Correct.
split rail fence, is more than likely if something, if a car does veer off that, it's just going to break the fence apart and.
All apart.
Right, and not hurt anybody. So that would be one of, I think, our board's concern. Is that fair to say, everyone? Yes? All right, I'm getting nods from everybody. Okay. All right, I think that covers my concerns. Susie, anybody online looking? No? Okay. Anyone from the public want to speak for or against the application? Right, we heard from you. Thank you. Right, does anyone else have any questions, comments, concerns? Leah?
No.
Larry? Matt?
Nope.
Patrick?
Nope.
All right, let's go back down. Anything else you want to add before we press on a little further?
Nope.
All right, Leah, where are you on this? Looking at the criteria, and are you leaning in favor of granting the variance? And if so, give us some idea why, as respect to what justifications you're looking at, what criteria?
Well, I am leaning in favor of it. It's just, when we go through the criteria, it just seems, to me, it's maybe a little hard to justify, but then again, it's, if we went the other way, it would be hard to justify against it also. But I think the last point you brought up about the fencing and the posts, that the posts are plastic and hollow, and they're not going to be set in concrete, I think that's going to be something good we can put in the justification to validate our point of view.
Okay. Larry, where are you? And
I'd be leaning against it because I think it is going to change the nature of the neighborhood. That whole road whole neighborhood is wide open, barring the one place that has the fence. And I think granting this it may open a can of worms as far as a lot of other people wanting to put fences up. And I think we might be in a situation at some point of, saying no to someone after we've said yes to 4 or 5 people. And that's where I would be.
okay, thanks. Matt, what do you think?
I'm in favor of it. I don't have an issue with it in regards to the criteria, as I stated, when I was driving out there, when you're standing there, you may not specifically see it as you get out into the area, into the neighborhood. It's rural in character, and I think the fence generally fits in just as you're driving the area. You see fences, you go by other places, you don't see fences, so I think it fits in. I think the way they're doing it, using it to kind of guide in the driveway, they're using it really as an architectural feature and not specifically as a fence. So I think that in the justification, stating that it's not actually acting as a fence to fence in a yard and is being used as a decorative feature to tie into the architectural look of the building and the property, I think is key to make that distinction. And then also being on a larger lot as well and not in more of a subdivision as well. So those are the main points I'm thinking for the first two as well. Is it substantial? I think it's only one side of the driveway. It's not fencing anything in specifically, so I think it could be looked at as it's not substantial, and it's also the split rail fence. It's not a vinyl fence that's creating the full barrier as well. It's not getting concreted into the ground, so overall, I would say you could make the case it's not substantial. I think as you went through just before, I don't think it would have an adverse impact. If for some reason a car drove off the road and hit the fence, they'd be very easily able to go through the fence as well, so I don't think
Patrick, what do you think?
I'm fine with it. Similar to Matt in terms of the neighborhood. So I would say driving out, you pass agricultural properties, horse farms. While nothing directly, it sounds like right on the road or in Victor, I don't think it changes the character of the neighborhood. I don't think for the architectural feature, as Matt said, I don't think it can be achieved elsewhere in another way. I probably would say it's substantial because you're both forward of the principal structure and crossing a utility easement. So that'd just be something I would add there. But otherwise, I don't have anything more.
Okay. While I'm looking at it, if I can ask a couple of other questions. You're only looking at really 2 sections of fence. One would be on the south side of the driveway, and that's the piece that runs, I think like you said, 107 feet plus the 9 feet beyond into the easement. And then the north side of the fence looks like, plus or minus 10 feet.
Yeah, it's 17 feet.
Okay, so you're really not looking for a fence of similar nature on the south side of your property.
No, just as an entrance.
What I think I'm sensing from Larry is that it's going to pain us if we hear from you in a little bit to say, oh, gee, now that I got that fence, I want the fence on the south side of the fence, and then I want the fence to run on the east side. I want to close it all in, and You're not doing that,
Nope.
right? You have no intention of
No
doing that.
intention.
This is just for the driveway.
It,
All right. So with that, unless you have some other comments or concerns you want to tell us about, I'm going to press on with drafting the proposed resolution. All right. First, an undesirable change would not be produced in the character of the neighborhood or detriment to nearby properties created by the granting of an area variance. You've indicated that this is for aesthetic purposes. You are on .87 acres of land. It is a vinyl split rail fence. It's in a rural area. The fence, proposed fence is 3.5 feet high. And just to make sure I covered my bases here, it's a vinyl fence, no wooden inserts, 24 inches deep. Is that
Correct.
accurate?
correct. 42 inches above ground.
42 inches above ground, and your survey map indicates the location of the fence, or fences, and it will, the eastern portion of the fence will be no closer than, it'll go up to the right-of-way line and no closer than 15 feet to the, any kind of pavement.
Correct.
Would anyone like to add or clarify anything in the first criteria?
Well, I think it would, I think it would create a change in the character. Because, I mean, there are, driving along that road, there are no fences. I mean, everything is just housing and wide open, and I understand you want it to look aesthetically different, but that's not what the neighborhood looks like now.
I,
And so,
Go ahead.
And so I think it would change the neighborhood having a fence there.
I think I have an idea which way you're going to vote, but I'm trying to craft the resolution
Okay.
into where I think the board is going to go. But your comments are well noted, and they should be noted,
Okay, that's fine.
okay?
That's all.
Yep.
I did like Matt's commentary about it being for aesthetics. I don't know if did you have that? You said that. Okay.
It is in there.
It's in there. Okay.
All right, we're good?
Mhm.
All right. Second, the benefits sought by the applicant cannot be achieved by some method feasible for the applicant to pursue other than an area variance. I'd like to mirror the justification for the first criteria. Would anyone like to add, comment, any other justifications for the second criteria? Third, the requested area variance, I think it really has to be substantial, primarily because of the distance from the front of the house to the right-of-way, being in excess of 110 feet.
I would agree.
Would anyone like to comment or add anything to the third criteria?
I think while they have a letter supporting, I think you should just document that it does impact the Monroe County Water Authority as well. In there.
Yeah, I'm thinking where we can put that.
Well, wouldn't it
Yeah, I
go
kinda
under the
put-
substantial?
Oops, sorry.
I think that's the point you're trying to make is,
I think it just underscores the is substantial.
Let's put that in there, that in the third, the justification, the third criteria, that they are going through in Monroe County water easement, and there is a letter indicating that they don't have any issue with it, and they should be able to work around it. All right, fourth, the proposed variance will not have an adverse effect or impact on the physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood or district. Haven't heard anything about a vinyl fence having any kind of impact on the physical and environmental conditions in the neighborhood. Would anyone like to add comment on the fourth criteria? If the alleged difficulty is self-created. I believe we're going to emphasize and have conditions that it is a vinyl fence without any kind of wooden posts. It is a split rail fence, vinyl 3.5 feet high, with no intention on coming back to us for additional fencing either on the east side of the property or the south side of the property. Anyone like to add anything on the criteria element?
Well, would you want to add for the condition that it stays in the pavement? Like, say they ever, for some
Sure, let's do
reason,
that. Yeah, let's-
Klein Road?
Yep, let's do that. Let's say a minimum of 15 feet from the paved road is the maximum distance to the right, well, it's at or about the right-of-way and no closer than 15 feet to the paved road.
I think that, because if they ever widened it out, then that would keep it a safe portion there.
All right, any further comments, questions, concerns?
Yes, has what you've done covered both variances? I just want to make sure. I think it might, but I just want to make sure that we're covering our
Yeah, we're
legal
gonna-
bases. Because there's one about the fencing, the height of the fence. Or, I'm sorry, the
Both in the where at
Right,
the solution.
they need, because the fence is greater than 2 feet high, the need for the variance is because it's forward of the primary structure. And it's within the Monroe County Water Authority easement.
Right. I just want to make sure the way we structure this.
I believe in this instance, we're fine. We've covered both the easement issue and the fence being forward of the primary structure. I know which fence is. You got one that's on the south side of the driveway and the other's on the north side of the driveway. And the fence that's on the north side of the driveway is approximately 17 feet. The same conditions would hold, is that the eastern portion of the fence is at or about the right-of-way and can be no closer than 15 feet to the pavement of Klein Road.
And would we just reference in each of the criteria that the water authority has provided a written sign-off on the installation of the fence, just to cover?
I think we did that.
We did that,
Do you have
okay.
that in there? Yeah. Okay. All right, anything else? All right, I would entertain a motion for approval.
Make a motion to approve?
Thank you, Matt. A second.
A second.
Patrick, any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Nay.
Nay.
Nay, okay. Pretty good. All right, you have your variance. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Any questions? If you do, Adam's over there. No, I'm
All right.
kidding. Do you have any questions for us?
What's the width of the road? Typically.
Typically 30 feet.
30 feet is the width of the road? Okay, I was just trying to figure out, I just want to make sure if you're documenting 15 feet, that it really is going to be that. Because this line on the map says 33 feet from the center of the road to
So-
the pin.
So you can't put the fence,
Any further
what
than,
they're saying, what they're trying to include in the variance, you still have to be within your property, so you can't go into the right of way.
right,
What Matt was suggesting was, let's say they decide to widen Klein Road.
right,
And the pavement gets closer,
it will, yeah.
right? So your fence needs to stay a minimum of 15 feet within your property. So if the right-of-way all of a sudden becomes 8 feet wide,
Right,
you'll have to push your fence back 7,
Okay.
or 8, yeah, 7
Okay.
feet. So
all right.
that's all they're suggesting.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't violating that 15 feet already.
The
knowing that
assumption
If
was-
the road is roughly 30,
I
and from the
understand.
center, I'm 33.
Based
so
on
it
what I'm
should-
looking at,
Should be
you should be
15 to
fine.
18, like
Yep.
you said. Okay, yep. I just want to make sure I'm not already in violation.
Good question.
Okay,
All right, you all set?
all set. And then what's like the next step?
You probably should be touching base with Adam on
Okay.
the permits you need.
Yep.
Making sure everything is, and as you say that it is, on
Okay.
distance, and I think your concerns are well-founded, so you don't want to start building a fence and then find out, oops, I'm too close.
Already, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think, right now, giving, not today, but
Yep.
in the near future, give Adam a call, get the building permits, what you need, on moving your project forward.
Okay,
Right, good.
all right, very good. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Night.
Thanks
Thank
for your
you, you too.
patience. All right, next, Drewer? Brewer? Brewer?
Yes.
Brewer?
Doer.
Doer.
Like the
Okay.
Scotch,
Oh,
but
wow.
not spelled that
So
way.
you- All right, so you're going to make a presentation, and is this the first time you've made any kind of presentation like
No,
this?
no, I've done this before.
All right, so are you familiar with the
The conditions, yes.
conditions for, not only the conditions, but also the referral that we have to make to the county
Yeah, you
planning
can't
board?
vote tonight, right?
We can't vote tonight,
Yes,
that's right.
correct.
We have to wait for the comments. County Planning Board is August 12th. We will meet back here August 18th, but our fact-finding mission is still important for us as well as
Right,
County Planning
absolutely,
Board.
which is actually 2 meetings after, right? Yes,
Yep. Okay,
right.
go ahead.
Oh, my name is Christian Dewar. I'm an architect. I prepared the application for the zoning variance and answered the 6 questions, 6, the 5 questions, no, in regard to whether it's going to interfere with the character and other things of the neighborhood. If we look at item number 1, where the change would produce a character neighborhood detriment, it's interesting that the acreage requirement comes from the commercial district zoning, and this is in the commercial industrial district zoning. I often see them getting less restrictive as they go out. There's also nothing in the code in the kennel that describes the reason for the 2 acres. So, I mean, that's up for you guys to review as well as the planning board and what they might desire. 2 acres of land would, if you look at my description, would not come close to touching any of the adjacent buildings or properties. I think the biggest concern in all this is really probably the noise from the dogs in the kennel. That being said, there's the buffer to the rear that's a wetland, and then the railroad tracks that go behind it. To north, it's quite a distance to the property to the north. You got Route 96 roughly to the west, which has, traffic patterns that are actually similar in operation to, that are busy at similar times the dogs in the kennel would be out. They have a time frame of 7 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. where the dogs will be in the run. It's in an existing enclosed run. The only thing we'll be doing to the run is he may be replacing the fence in its exact position because the fencing needs to be buried down into the ground so the dogs don't dig and get out, and I'll be sheeting that with vinyl strips so you can't see the dogs when you approach and they can't see you. Let me look at my notes here.
Question number 2 is, can it be achieved another way? We can't purchase more acreage of land. I mean, we could find another location, and that would be the only solution to that.
Could you expand on that?
Pardon?
Why couldn't you purchase the rest of the land?
There's no land available around that to purchase. It's landlocked. There's a railroad track behind it, and other,
There's wetlands.
yes.
And that's owned by
There's
the town?
The adjacent parcel?
the wetland behind there's the railroad track. There's also wetland that comes to the Route 96 side of the railroad track, and then there's wetlands behind the railroad track that is owned by the apartment complex behind. So there's nothing available to purchase, and it's not even continuous, and that's another question. We actually own a little piece of land on the other side of the railroad tracks.
Okay, I'm sorry I interrupted you.
No worries, no worries. I don't see, because it's an existing building, an existing fence, I don't see it having a issue with the physical nature of the neighborhood. Environmentally, it's, the noise from the dogs barking could be, the only environmental issue that it would have. Then again, I bring back the hours of operation and it's a busy, corridor of traffic. Trains don't go by there anymore, but I think that's owned by a Ontario County as a walkway, I believe, so. And of course, it's not self-created, because we won't, we didn't create the issue. If you don't grant the variance, we don't buy the property. I've taken care of that.
You're good for now? All right. Leah, questions, comments, concerns?
Well, I have one comment and question, I guess for us, the board, or Adam. On this one site plan where it says my map, where it was referred, and that was my question, that little triangular piece that's in yellow, that's on the other side of the train tracks, and the question was answered, that's part of this property.
Correct.
And so with that piece, that makes up the 1.055 acres.
Yes,
But
correct.
But since that's over the tracks, wouldn't there be like a waiver, with the property that's the tracks, since the tracks are in between and the property extends over the tracks, couldn't that be like considered
Part of the,
part of the site to meet the 2-acre requirement for?
I will give the applicant credit to, it's a bit of an ifs and buts
Yeah,
argument.
correct.
You're using other people's property, if you will, I don't know what the other word is, to glom onto other people's property. So, well, gee, they're not using the woods over here, so I'm going to count that as part of my acreage. I'm going to count over there as part of my acreage.
I wasn't meaning to count that as acreage. I was just giving you a distance. I wanted to get the distance just so you knew how far away it was, from people hearing,
There's
noise
there's
from the
really,
kennel.
as far as I know, there's no exception, no provision in the town code that allows you to reach across railroad tracks and count the railroad tracks as part, or count some woods that are not yours to count. It's pretty specific on, this is how much acreage you need.
No, I agree with you
As
on
far as
that.
the intent goes,
Yeah.
the intent is dog kennels are permitted in Victor, but in certain locations, and to have sufficient distance between the business and residential areas. You have some residential areas that are close by, on one hand. You do have some buffering that might help. I don't know how many dogs you plan on having, but I think to answer at least your question, Leah, I don't see any provision in the code that allows you to reach across or count that distance across the tracks.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I just want a clarification
Oh, sure.
for that, because I never saw that before. So you mentioned you're going to have kennels in the building, and I
Correct.
saw in your documents like 3 grooming stations.
Correct.
And inside for 42, 42 kennels, for 42 dogs. What other activities, other than housing the dogs in the building, having them outside in the yard, and those 3 grooming stations, what else is going to be done on site?
That's really about it. It's the rest will be offices and, reception to receive the dogs. And, the Ford building is their quote daycare area. So there's smaller kennels in that, and the rear building is the overnight kennels.
And okay, and you have 42 kennels allowed to stay. But do you think do you think the property owner's gonna house 42 at any given time, or does he have another business similar to this that?
I do not know the answer to
No,
that.
okay.
Do not know the answer to that.
And for, you said somebody's on site, and I guess the dogs will be outside between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7:30 p.m.
Correct.
So at night, they're going to be housed by themselves? Is there going to be anybody on site?
It's not 24 hours, but they'll be monitored by cameras. So yes, there won't be anyone on site unless they see an issue that they have to come and address. And I know there's no legislation right now for that. I mean, I asked the client specifically about that.
Okay, that's all for now.
Larry?
The existing business is a dog groomer.
Yes, correct.
Do they keep any dogs overnight?
No, not there. Mm-mm.
Okay, let me ask this question of Adam then. What makes this a dog kennel? Because of the overnight storage of,
It just meets the definition of kennel in our code, which is, paraphrasing here, the harboring of 2 or more dogs ages 6 months or older as a commercial enterprise, similar to that effect. I can find it here and
but
read
is
it.
there a time?
Nope.
So is the existing dog groomer a kennel?
The existing Bow Wow salons in the village, I don't know anything about its operations.
Okay. But would it be considered a kennel?
Again, I don't know.
Based upon what the,
If dogs come in and get groomed and they leave, I don't believe they would consider it a kennel.
okay.
It's,
So they're going to build a kennel in back of the building,
No, in this,
changing nothing in the building.
nothing's getting changed in the building.
And there's enough room now in the building for 42
Yep. mhm.
dogs.
Yep.
And the difference in the number of grooming stations between now and, you're going to end up with 3.
3.
And how many are there now?
What in
In the existing
Victor?
Bow Wow salon?
I think there's 3. There might be 4, but I think there's 3.
So to get it in my head, where is the space coming from?
Pardon?
Where is the space coming from for the 42?
In the
Dogs.
second building. Well, I gave you, there's a layout there of
And what's in the second building now?
the, it's vacant. It's just an open,
Okay, that's what I was missing, I'm sorry.
it's just an open structure.
Now, when you said earlier about purchasing the existing 2 acres and said it wasn't available,
Correct.
basically what you're saying is they either don't want to sell or the owner doesn't want to pay what it would take to get the additional 2 acres.
I guess the only option might be,
let me just step in here. I think you might be a little confused here. So they're looking to purchase a property
Right,
that is a little over an acre.
correct.
They don't currently own it, they don't currently have any salon in it.
Correct.
This is a completely new building. So the adjacent properties aren't for sale for them to purchase. They can't just go and say, sell us your acreage so we can have 2 acres.
They could,
The existing parcel, though,
but they could.
is not 2 acres.
I mean, if you're trying to get to 2 acres, you go to the other owners and say, can I buy this acreage?
And then they say no, and he's still here later.
Okay. Yeah, but
And, you know, with the railroad track to the rear, there's no possibility of,
Right.
you know, purchasing that. And the other side is parking lot with a shared access easement, which is valuable. Parking is valuable, and I don't know what the parking load required for that business is now. See if there could be something available there, but that would be unlikely.
and the dogs won't be outside.
No, the dogs will be outside on the run, which is enclosed. That fence area behind will become the outdoor area for them, you know, to play and get exercise.
So there will be something that built in the back there.
It's
I
an
mean,
existing, well, it's an existing fenced-in area.
Okay.
And we're just using that existing fenced-in area.
and they'll just wander around that area.
Well, they'll be controlled. There
I
could
mean,
be.
yeah, you know what I mean. They'll be let loose into that area,
Correct.
and
Yes.
there won't be any additional fences to keep
No,
them within.
no additional fences.
So the noise volume as far as the apartment complex in back of there is going to be just from 7 to 7, roughly?
7 to 7:30, correct.
7 to 7:30.
Correct. Mhm.
Okay.
And that's kind of why I gave the distances to the adjacent buildings and took photographs of, you know, the wetlands between, you know, from the apartment complex looking at the kennel.
But it would be going from no noise now to a level of noise with the dogs running.
Yes, there'll be an increase in noise with the dogs, yes, correct.
Thank
But it
you.
also, you know, it coincides somewhat, at least during the day. It's not late at night and with the traffic corridor we've got going there. So,
And it would be 7 days a week.
yep, yep.
I'm fine.
Okay, Matt?
I very much appreciated the trying to get a vacant building build coming into the village. Have a lot of, I think, issues with it. So the existing fenced area in the back is just a paved parking lot. You're gonna have a dog play area just on regular asphalt pavement.
He may change it, you know, out of asphalt to something else. You know, I didn't think that was pertinent to this. You know, I just wanted you to know that it's fenced in. We're not changing that fence line, and that's what he's going to use for the kennel.
Okay. I think like trying to get a use on half the size that's allowed by code, I think everything doing would be pertinent, because also like dogs are out there, dogs start to pee, you get runoff on pavement, it's not gonna, grass helps to attract stuff like that. But separate to that, so there'll be people there from 7 to 7:30, so basically there's gonna be 43 dogs at most in the kennel for 12 hours, with traffic just going up and down 96, people honking, starting at 4:45 in the morning. Burn Boot Camp next door is gonna have customers coming in, driving by the building, starting noise, and you got the residential next door. It just I'm having a hard time seeing like, I very much appreciate it's a local business trying to expand by a vacant, I very much appreciate it. I'm just having a hard time, because as I think Mike said, like having the 2 acres to get that buffering on that property more away from other businesses versus it's a shared business. It's right next to residential as well. I'm having a hard time getting there. It just seems like, especially having 43 dogs then there just for 12 hours unmonitored, and seems like it could be very noisy. So then the part overnight exercise yard is not an overnight exercise yard.
No.
So it'll just be.
Just, I mean, that obviously would be a condition of approval, would be ours if approved. would be the hours of operation, or the hours the dogs would not be outside, however you wanted to reference that. And, I might add, and I know you talked about the, me saying what 2 acres might be, but we've got, you talk about the distance and the buffer you need, and there's nothing in the code that tells you, and the kennel specific about how do you design the kennel, if it was a larger acreage, the run could be bigger and just as close to the adjacent neighbor as it is now. Correct?
Now we're getting into ifs or buts. The code, what we're dealing with as of today is the code as it exists. What the code looks like 5 years from now, I
No,
have
I'm
no
just
way of
saying,
knowing that.
I'm saying the code, no, you're correct in that. I'm just trying to make, if I had 2 acres, there's nothing specifically telling me I couldn't have the fenced-in area, close to the rear property line. Right?
I don't know what the specific.
I suppose in a vacuum, as far as the code goes, maybe not.
Right.
But if there is enough noise coming from that area that it exceeds the reasonable decibel levels, that's
Correct.
a whole different problem.
Correct.
And I'm going to try and draw a very loose analogy here, that of recent time, pickleball it's exploded all over the country. And I can tell you there are some proponents of pickleball in Vicar and those who are opposed to it. Those that are, you're smiling, I
Well,
think
no,
you know.
I did a
Because you-
pickleball court in Brighton, so I know exactly
Okay,
what you're
so
talking
there are
about.
some people in
So-
Victor that there are recreational areas, the tennis courts have been converted into pickleball courts. It sounds like it's a great idea. Let's use our recreational area. And those residents are absolutely fuming because of bink-a-bunk, and they're limiting on the hours. So on the barking noise, there's no pickleball going on at 10 p.m.
Right.
But I think there's going to be barking going on at 10 p.m. or whatever disturbs the dogs. I have some dogs. I picked up my dogs at different hours. It's not a quiet place.
So to clarify what you're thinking, you're going to hear the dogs barking from within the building.
It's possible. So you asked me what that intent was. I think that is just to create a sufficient buffer of the 2 acres. Hopefully, is enough land that if you're going to have a kennel, the noise level will be minimal compared to if it's on 1 acre.
Correct. I
and there's-
understand where you're coming from.
There's
yes.
been other applicants up and down 96 that they've looked at the area, the amount of acreage that they have. So we want to do this light industrial activity, and all of it's going to be inside. We've checked the decibel level. So they're very aware that what they're going to do potentially could cause noise to residential areas that are close by. But they've done everything to muffle it, done testing, show us documentation that whatever your concerns about the noise level to residents, it isn't there. And when we say we're only open from 9 to 5, that's it. There's nothing going on in the evening hours. So, and I think to Matt's point, I can appreciate it. Love to have Victor grow, have vacant places filled, but there needs to be, I think, the right place, the right business in the right location. I'm not voting, this is kind of, I think, the mindset that I have right now.
No, I understand it totally.
do have
I
a-
mean, I don't know. I didn't look into any studies about, the decibel levels of dogs barking and how long it would travel. We have time to come back to another meeting. We could try to do a scenario where we mimic sounds of dogs barking in the fenced-in area and then try to read a decibel reading to the residential neighbors to the rear.
So Leah, did you ask the question? Somebody asked the question over, do they have other kennels? And I think you're not sure, you don't know?
I don't believe they do, no.
Okay, well, maybe some of their colleagues or try and find some similar scenario that, hey, this kennel I know you probably heard me say earlier, Farmington, for the fence, really, we can't consider it. But if you can find a like situation, say, over here, they have a kennel, and it's 1 acre, and the decibel levels from going however many feet away, that's
Certainly
2
do that.
acres. And if something that we can grab onto,
Okay.
doesn't mean we're going to vote in favor
No,
of
I
it.
understand that, but I know
Gotta
this
give us
is,
something to
this
look
is,
at.
this is the big issue, right? It's-
Oh, sure,
it's-
sure.
It's the
I'm glad you
barking, so
appreciate
I totally understand that, right?
I do have another question.
ahead.
So once they made the application for it and realized the lot was too small, did they go out and actually be like, okay, let's see if there is another property in the area at a zone that might be 2 acres still in the community in the area? Or are they just, let's just go for the variance instead?
You know, it's not just, well, when you're saying the property, you're saying, you know, both the acreage and the building.
Yeah, so when they
And
looked
I-
at it and realized the use didn't fit the zoning, were they like, okay, let's go out and see what might be of it, tell their broker, we need 2 acres commercial, light industrial, what's available in the Victor area, maybe they were like Victor, Farmington, and like, did they go and try to see if there were other properties that they could do this that would actually meet?
I know the big draw was 96 and the accessibility to it. But then again, you know, pet owners love their pets sometimes, you know, a lot. So you know, I think the visibility is a key draw for that building for them. But I don't know what they looked at. I wasn't privy to that conversation, but I can, you know, I can come back and answer that question and try to get, you know, decibel readings or some feedback from other local kennels. You know, obviously there's a bunch of them, so we can
I think
ask.
the general theme we're having so far is that you want to put a kennel in a small area. You need double the area for this, for you not to have a variance. The board's concerns right now really seem to be, the theme is the noise level. Yes, do the dogs have enough room? But that noise level, granted, 96 it's traffic noise, but there's also neighborhoods around. And I don't know if that buffering between this particular building and all those apartments, I don't know.
Is enough, right, correct.
So it's concerns.
Yeah. Fully understand.
What do you got, Patrick?
No, I was actually gonna ask for similar examples. It'd be great to see what noise, I guess like density too. So it's also like, was a typical fenced in area, right? I'm sure there's a noise, and then the density issue is where the 2 acres probably came from. Question on safety. I think of animals as occupants. It'd be nice if the file had some documentation around, does it have a sprinkler system? Like it's not going to be occupied for 12 hours of humans. So sprinkler system, maybe something from like the the fire service or something.
Do they need a sprinkler system?
Would have to read through, because it's an existing building, and it's
Okay.
likely that their renovation would be considered greater than 50%, and the town code would require a sprinkler system to be installed if there's not one present. But it hasn't been reviewed yet for those codes.
I appreciate your point. We have to be, I think, a little cautious on where is that, quote, safety issue plug into the criteria. I know we were talking about the fence and the car coming in and argue that that has some safety elements to it, but your questions really should be pinned into one or more of those criteria to look at.
Okay. Yeah. Other than that, I'm fine.
Okay.
I mean, to put that there's no requirement for a sprinkler system for for animals.
I mean,
I'm aware of
it's
in the
similar to
building
a
code.
workplace of humans. That's where I was going, right? I mean, it's no different than working. in-
Adam will look into it, and I think we'll get back.
It's likely, because we have a more restrictive local law when it comes to fire sprinkler systems, that the
Right, right.
building permit would trigger a fire sprinkler system for that.
For, like the change of use, or is it, how is it written in the?
So what I'm just looking at your plan, it would be a renovation of space greater than 50% of the square footage, so, let's see what the,
Yeah, I can understand I could argue the point that what's going in there is furniture. We're really not doing any changes other than removing a couple little walls to make more rooms for kennels.
So then, to that point, are they just like buying 40?
You can buy
cages?
pre-manufactured.
But for that standpoint, and I mean, but it's asking for it on a smaller site. They're buying 40 cages for dogs and just shoving them in the building and.
Well, I don't think shoving them in the building is
Placing.
appropriate. I mean,
But
it's a business. They want to care for the dogs and make sure the dogs are cared for, the way an owner might like it. But
But I think the issue would be that even if he had the 2 acres, he could.
still have that
he would-
same
he
At
would
that
issue.
do
point,
the
he could
same
be
thing
doing
with
it.
a
We
building.
wouldn't have any.
Yeah, but if he had a building in 2 acres, he
Yes.
would probably do the same thing with the building that
Correct.
he's talking about now.
Right,
I
I don't,
understand.
yeah, I don't want to get too caught up into the
Right,
the
correct.
engineering or the planning of it. It's, again, looking at the criteria, and right now, it's a substantial ask for putting a kennel of that size on that size of property.
yeah, 1 acre
That's the
land.
nut here that we're dealing with.
I do believe, and I keep saying this, but there's, because of what is around it, there's a little, I see there's leeway in terms of at least the distance for the noise, which is the big issue. So, with the railroad tracks behind it, that's
To that point, you can't control what your neighbors do with that buffering. If they go in and decide to harvest those trees or build a lawn.
well, no, we do, because it's wetland. I mean, and it's
The
already been,
wetlands, right.
it's already been mitigated, so that I don't think they can do anything with that, since the apartment complex went in.
We'll give that some thought.
Okay, no worries, thanks.
Anybody online? Go ahead, you'd like to say something? I know you've been waiting. Thanks for your patience. Just tell us who you are and,
My name's Keith Trammell, and I actually own that property right now. So I wanted to address a couple of the concerns that y'all have about noise. I spent a considerable part of my life in those offices there, and the noise from Route 96 is non-existent inside. It is a well-constructed, soundproof almost building. So I honestly don't think you're going to have any exterior sound from dogs or anything once they're inside. I mean, it is a solid building, and it's quiet. So I don't think you're going to have that issue at all. Another thing, I'm speaking from my conversations with the folks at Bow Wow now. They're not going to be putting dogs out on tarmac. There is a specific surface that is laid down that addresses that concern that you had, and I know that they're going to be putting that down.
Understood. That was just what was said in the letter we were given, was that
Right.
no exterior.
So from my conversations with them, and I'm sure they'll address this in the future with y'all, but I want you to not worry about that, because I know that, people love their animals, and they certainly love their dogs, and they're not going to put them in a situation where the dogs are at risk. And the people at Bow Wow, they do, I mean, they work with animals 24/7, and they love these animals as well. And they're not going to put them at risk by putting them on hot tarmac or putting them in a situation where they're going to be at risk in any way, shape, or form.
right, on that note, it might be best for the architect. Have you done a renovation design a kennel before? I'm curious. The reason I ask is because you're, Mr. Tromwell, is it
Trammell, yes, sir.
Trammell, could there be any enhanced insulation on that structure to keep whatever noise is going on in there in the building? It's one thing during the hours, that if there's a dog running around barking, but at nighttime, when nobody's there.
Well, I certainly would imagine that if you put some sonics up on the walls, that would certainly deaden any sound. But, that would be something that they would.
I don't know what that is, what it looks like, how much it would cost.
Right, right. Well, and we can address that in our next meeting and
That's fine.
try to
That's
find
a-
information about sound
Research
transfer
it and
within-
let us
within
know
the
what that
building.
looks like.
Right.
That's all.
I mean, we could also explore the option of, you know, the fence being in the same location that it is now, but a new fence that might deaden the sound coming from within the kennel, at least projected horizontally, you know, and up. So, you know, the sound may travel up and be
So
less of a
I think
decibel.
the board's thoughts here is, the more research, the R&D you can bring back to us on keeping the sound in the building, keeping any noise that's while they're outside in there,
Okay.
so as just to mitigate all of that noise, sound, not bother the residents. You might give us some more to think about.
Could
Another
you-
thing,
For the next meeting, could you also tell us in detail what you're gonna do in the back? Because I'm getting the impression from listening to you that there's going to be some change in the back as opposed to being on a tarmac and something, and now, but I didn't get the impression from you that I just like understand what they're putting in the back
Correct,
for the
correct.
run.
Within the fenced-in area, yes.
Right.
We can design that.
Okay.
You had a question about, you know, why this building. I used to use that large area in the back as a camera room when I was running my photography studio out of there. It has very high ceilings, it's a very big room, and that's, when you find a structure that fits your need, then boom, it's like, you know it. And that, I knew that when I was building my camera room in there. And now that structure is a wide open area. It's perfect for what they're talking about in there.
Did you buy that from did you subdivide that off by chance from the adjacent owners for
No.
Burn Boot Camp, or is that always?
No, I own the whole building. And when I was running my photography studio out of it, this side of it was offices, sales rooms, things.
Oh, but for the other tax lot that you're kind of combined with, because there's two tax lots there that kind of make up, if you drive by it, you think they're all one property.
I only bought the existing, that yellowed out area. That was the property that I purchased. I didn't buy two
Did you buy it
different
from the owners, though, who own the adjacent property?
No.
Are there any like trees or high shrubs in the back of the building adjacent to the railroad tracks?
If you look, if you can go through photos and see the photos of the fenced-in area, and it's a huge row of cattails.
And it's all
I mean-
wooded back there.
Yeah.
Because I know from personal experience, you know, high shrubs and trees block out a lot of noise, and once they come down, it's a lot more noise.
When they were
Right.
building the subdivisions that are out back there, I didn't even know they were doing it. I mean, I heard nothing, no machinery, nothing.
I mean, the only thing I would say is we're talking a lot about sound too. Don't underestimate density of an animal on 1 acre. 43 animals on 1 acre. It would be really nice to see visually where are they going to be running, exercising. I know we have like a rough, but like what's the size, right? I think that's an important for when you're talking neighborhood. It's noise is certainly one thing, but it's also at maximum we're suggesting 43 dogs on 1 acre, of which is building and blacktop.
Well, what I also understood from the documents, if you have a maximum of 43 dogs at once there, they're not going to be out all at once. It's going to be maybe like, and I'm just throwing out a number, 5 dogs of, you know, one type or size in one enclosed area, and then also in the other enclosed area, another, let's say, 5. And then, so my next question to find out, because it did say that the dogs will have exercise for about an hour. And so you have those 5 dogs or however many for that 1 hour, and then they go in. Is it continuous? You know, is it going to be like, let's say from 8 to 9 a.m., the dogs are out exercising, then they go in, and before the next group comes out, is there like a half hour, like from 9 to 9:30, that no dogs are out, and then it's 9:30, you bring out the next group?
It was my understanding that they just go in shifts and they figure out what dogs
Right.
go out with what dogs, and they go out multiple times a
Continuously,
day.
yeah, okay.
So, I mean,
On those notes, on both your comments, we're looking at the land, trying to figure out that oftentimes, at least in the town code, it's not additional language. See, the intent of the code for this section is X, Y, Z. It's really left for the board to try and figure out why is it there? What's the purpose of it?
I agree, yeah,
All
correct,
right?
yeah.
So we're doing the best we can. However, to the management of, and it's a fair enough question on animal density and how many are going to go out, just because and if this board grants a variance doesn't mean you have the blessing of the Humane Society. If the Humane Society comes out and finds that you're doing it wrong, that's on you, right? It's
Yep,
not
yep,
on us. You can't say the Humane Society, oh, the town granted us a variance. I don't think they care, right? And so it may be worth
No, I agree.
your own homework to contact the Humane Society and say, hey, this is what we'd like to do. Is there any issue with putting that many animals in this small a space? If there is, you may want to rethink this whole project. Fair
Good
enough?
advice, yes, yep.
Any other questions, concerns? We're good?
I'd just like to mention, when considering the residential parcels, there's a pre-existing non-conforming residence across the street as well. It is a commercially zoned parcel now, but it's been a continuous residence, so it's allowed to be such until such time as that use lapses, or it changes to a
Is it,
commercial.
do you know if it's a rental or if it's a? do you
I
know?
believe that it's owned, it's directly next
Kitty corner
door
kinda,
to
next
the Pace.
Pace, yes,
Yep.
right, right.
So when considering the distances to nearby residents, not just the apartments, but that residence
Right,
across the
right.
street as well. It's not a residential parcel, so it doesn't show up in the zoning map that way, but it is a residence. Okay.
Correct, yep, yep. And it's on the opposite side of the building, but yes, there's still a concern for that, correct.
All right, everyone else good for now? Questions, any?
No.
All right, so we will see you back on August 18th. I think you know the drill with County Planning Board. It's certainly up to you if you want to contact, go to the meeting. We're not suggesting either way. You decide how you want to handle
But
it.
there's a meeting before that as well, isn't there?
Zoning?
Yeah.
Yes, but we won't have, my understanding is County Planning is looking at this application August 12th.
Yes, correct.
So
But if we're prepared to give you the additional information for the closer meeting, that we might be able to come then, right?
you could, but we're still not going to be able
Oh,
to.
I know you can't vote. I can't vote. But then if you have another question, I got one more opportunity to answer that.
I leave that choice up. If you'd
Okay.
like to be put on the agenda,
Perfect.
I think we can make some room for you.
No, that's why it was,
That's
just in
fair
case.
enough.
who
Yeah,
knows?
I get it. They want to move the project along. If we come up with another question, then,
Right. I already thought I'd be here for 3 times, so, you know.
So you'd like to be on the August 4th meeting, is what you're saying?
Yes, put us on the August 4th, and if we're not ready for it, we'll just come back for the next meeting.
just let Amber know.
Oh,
that
absolutely. Yep, we'll do.
You don't plan on it, so we can get you off.
All right, awesome. Perfect.
Good.
All right.
Thanks for your patience.
Yep. Oh,
Thanks for the
no
help.
worries. All right, thank you. Thanks for, the volunteers you guys are,
You're welcome. Have a good night.
Underappreciated.
Anything else before the board? Nothing? Good. All right, motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody.
Adam, I had a quick question I wanted to ask you, if you have a second.